What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dobrunsky here. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a new Amazon build. So I want to use the quotation marks very loosely because in reality, you could run this build in previous iterations of Diablo 2. But the major difference here is that you can now roll one very powerful rune word in spears. So it's kind of a different take on the Charged Strike, Lightning Strike variant because most typical standard Javazons will Charge Strike the odd monster that runs up into their face, and then they typically, or in bosses too, and they'll typically stay back and throw Lightning Fury. This is a different playstyle. You kind of run in, poke once with Lightning Strike, let that arc through monsters, and then just Charge Strike like crazy with a spear. The reason why this is very powerful is because if the user is actually wielding Infinity, you can take advantage of the Conviction Aura, plus the massive negative lightning resistance that's on the weapon. If your mercenary is using it, you don't benefit from that negative lightning res, but in this case we do, so we can bounce back and forth between Lightning Strike and Charge Strike for a very, very powerful Amazon. And I literally can't tell the difference between like players 1 and players 5. And then even up to players 8, the only difference between players 8 and players 1 is that basically Lightning Fury isn't as effective, but Charge Strike is still mowing everything down. So this is a really cool, powerful build. I really like it. It's definitely, in my opinion, S tier, and it's a different kind of variant on a Javazon. So I do think it's pretty cool. But again, like all my previous build videos, I will have timestamps in the description below, so if you want to navigate between certain segments of the video, they're there for you guys to use, so please take advantage of them. And a quick reminder, if you do enjoy this YouTube content, I do stream twice a week on Twitch, so any follows on that platform would be very much appreciated. That being said, guys, let's jump in. So this whole build is literally revolved around this new ability to roll Infinity in a spear. So you can roll it in Amazon spears or your standard spear like Ghost Spear, Man Catcher, that kind of thing. I do plan on making a video where I'm going to cover everything about Stegen Pikes, Ghost Spears, War Pikes, and how that's going to kind of change the meta for things like Infinity and Obedience. But I want to pose a quick question to you guys. What do you personally think about maybe opening up more build diversity in the future? So instead of making massive changes with characters, like we already have some very viable stuff with this new patch, but the ability to roll some new rune words in different bases, I think opens up a lot of opportunities. So a couple, things I can think off the top of my head is, what if you could roll Insight and a sword? Let's say a 4-up socket Crystal Sword, roll Insight in it, then you could put that on an Act 3 Mercenary, you could teleport around as a Hammerden, he'll use Static Field, and he'll actually be somewhat more of a viable choice. What about the rune word Beast and a sword? With the new Frenzy Barbarian setup, you could rock Last Wish and Beast, so have Might Aura and Fanaticism at the same time. I think there's a lot of cool builds that can open up and just new opportunities from just shifting around rune words in different bases. So I just really like that. Even kind of tying in the Act 3 Mercenary, Infinity and a sword. I don't think it would be better per se than an Act 2 Mercenary, but if he could self-wield Infinity, power up his Static Field, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm interested in kind of hearing you guys' feedback. Let me know in the comment section below, but this whole build centers around this Infinity Matriarchal Spear. It's just, this build owns, I don't know if you can call it melee. It's definitely a different spin on the Javazon though, so I do really like this build. Gonna quickly go over the attributes. So basically, standard max fight is set up, so enough strength to equip my gear, enough dex to use the Matriarchal Spear, everything else in vitality. So 1 to 9.8k Charge Strike, and Lightning Strike is 1 to basically 9k, but it arcs 46 times. Probably get another arc maybe with the Battle Command, but the playstyle, you'll kind of see when I show off the gameplay, is you kind of run in, Lightning Strike once, there's a massive cluster of monsters, it will arc through doing damage, and then you just Charge Strike one by one. So it's an interesting playstyle, and I can't wait to show you guys kind of the full extent of it. Now, as far as the skill tree goes, basically I maxed out Charge Strike and Lightning Strike and all of its synergies. So 20 hard points into Power Strike, 20 hard points into Lightning Bolt, 20 hard points into Charge Strike, then 20 hard points into Lightning Strike. No Lightning Fury, we're using a spear, we can't throw anything. This is a Charged Strike Spearzon. Bow and crossbow skills, nothing, and then passive and magic, I have 1 hard point into Critical Strike, 1 hard point into Penetrate, and then I unlocked Valkyrie, so all these prerequisites. You could, if you didn't want to use Valkyrie, you could pump up Dodge, Avoid, and Evade even more, but I don't know, there's extra points. Like I thought, why not have a stronger Valkyrie? You could put, I don't know, more points into Penetrate for attack rating. There's a lot of opportunities with extra skill points once you synergize the Javelin and Spear skill tree. So just want to make that clear that there's like a different variation, just kind of like a foundation setup. Now as far as the gear goes, kind of your standard Javazon setup minus the weapon. So Infinity, Matriarchal Spear, There is a different spear. Let me check my inventory. I have it here somewhere. So you could use Matriarchal Pike, but that's a slower attack speed. So I think it's actually better to just attack quicker because most of her damage is lightning. That's why I went with the Matriarchal Spear. Again, you could probably use a Man Catcher. That might be a better base. I'm not sure. I haven't checked out all the IS breakpoints. But Infinity and a Matriarchal Spear, Faceted Griffins, High Lords, Chains of Honor. Now, the reason why I'm using this and not Enigma is your resistances are horrible if you use Enigma. Like, I was literally negative lightning, negative fire, negative poison, negative cold. So at least with Chains of Honor, I still get plus skills, all res, a little bit MF, but I don't have negative resistance. That's the reason why I went that route. But you do get fast realm walk with Infinity and a Spear, which is pretty cool. And then I have Ravenfrost, T-Gods, so this is just adding additional Lightning Strike, so I felt like it was a good complement. And again, Vitality, Strength, Max Lightning Res, a SOJ. You could go with a Dual Leech Ring if you really wanted to, but I have Mana Leech here, and I don't really struggle with Life Leech because I have Chains of Honor. So Dual Leech between these two pieces is just 220 Glove with Mana Leech, so that's why I have an SOJ for an extra skill. Then Alder's Boots for Fire Res and plus life. Offhand, CTA, and Spirit. Then I have different max damage attack rating small charms. You could go all res small charms if you wanted to and use Enigma. Again, this isn't a fully optimized setup. And then I have Javelin and Spear skills with a Torch and an Annie. The Mercenaries using Treachery, Faceted Nightwings, Faith, and a Grand Matron Bow. And then this is the Freezing Arrow variant. So again, the damage is not that good. I could throw on, if I wanted to sacrifice an Ice Breakpoint, I could use Ice, but I feel like it's just better to use Faith. Cool change dispatch is you can use it in an Amazon bow. That's pretty cool. That is basically a quick breakdown. So now I'm going to run through Chaos Sanctuary. We do players 1, and then we'll jump up to P3 and then P8. But you'll notice there's not much of a difference between any of the settings. This is... I struggle to call this a melee build, but it just wrecks face. The Battle Lords, Battle Command, Valkyrie. You'll see the playstyle. You're just alternating back and forth between Lightning Strike, and then you just Charge Strike. So Lightning Strike once, let it arc through, and then just Charge Strike. Lightning Strike, it's really cool. You're really seeing once we get into some big clusters of mobs how it kind of arcs around in the Chaos Sanctuary, which is really cool. It's really cool to actually use Lightning Strike too, because we all know like Lightning Fury is so good, and there's just like there's no reason to use anything other than that skill, so it's really cool to actually use Lightning Strike. Okay, so let's really pump up to P3. Let's try and get into some density here. So you can kind of really see Lightning Strike like just arcing everywhere. Where is the density here? Man, I'd be dying to have a playthrough like this when I have a garbage character. And I should note you can switch between Charge Strike, Lightning Strike, and Jab for physical immunes, or sorry, excuse me, for lightning immunes. Okay, let's try and get some density here. You can kind of see it arcs between. Charge Strike. And it could very well be a better option to use like a Man Catcher, because it might be a faster attacking spear versus having like the plus skills for the Matriarchal Pike. Matriarchal Spear. I haven't dug down too much into kind of the most optimized setup, but
I am overburdened. I am overburdened.
so we'll jump to There's 8 now.
I can't carry anymore.
See how player's 8 Infector goes. It's pretty crazy. There's I mean, a little bit less lightning strike damage, but your charged strike is just mows down. But I mean, that's not new. Like, get the idea from a Javazon. Player's 8 Diablo though. Boom. Just smoke. I'll maybe do one more run. We'll just do player's 8, maybe partway through Chaos, so you get to see player's 8 the entire time. Then you could kind of compare between the two for clear speed. You're not really going to notice the difference with Charged Strike. Like, Charged Strike is still going to one-shot stuff. It's just that Lightning Fury, the Lightning Strike in between, it just isn't doing quite as much damage. I'll switch to Jab because he's Lightning Immune. And that wasn't bad for PA Lightning Immune. Okay, I'm gonna skip the lightning immunes, just because it's gonna slow down the player's 8 run. Seem to be getting a lot of lightning immunes for this player's 8 run. That's fine. Anything that's not lightning immune is just... I mean, Charged Strike is doing most of the work at this difficulty. Using like Enigma for the body armor and teleporting to get around quicker too.
I can't carry anymore.
I just found that you had such low resistance that I don't think it was worth it. Although with a more optimized inventory, you could just teleport around and charge strike everything. Imagine if there was some nutty way to apply like the charge strike damage to Fend or something. It'd be insane. I mean, there's probably not, if you compare like the time back to back for these two runs, I don't think there's much of a time difference. And again, I do want to stress that this whole build could absolutely, you could run the same setup, you could use like T-strokes and a J mod, and you could run around and do the same thing. But it's a lot easier to roll one Infinity than it is to get a J mod and perfect lightning facets. Our bow ran out. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much wraps up what I wanted to show for the Charged Strike Spearzon variant. I'm really excited at some of the new like build opportunities and variants that we get with this new patch. And again, this one was literally just because of changing a room word in a base. So I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts on like the question I posed earlier. Oops. About just the ability to roll different rumors and different bases, that opening up its own build diversity in addition to the character changes that they made. This is really fun character. I don't think it's too crazy, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. If you would rock this over standard Javazon, or would you rather rock a teleport variant with better res small terms? Just any feedback is good as long as you're not a dick. Other than that, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could throw a like on it, it'd be awesome. And I'll catch you guys on my next video or live stream. Peace out.